Okay, what's up guys? What's going on? This is Liam, and first things first, I know I'm wearing earplugs. You shouldn't do it. I'm only wearing these so I can record through this, but there's never any music coming into my ears. So I'm just going to kind of tell you guys about fasting. So, what are the benefits of fasting? Is it the best thing you can do for tinnitus? Why does it help people with their tinnitus? Why do some people get amazing results really quickly when they fast? And why do some people experience spikes? Why does people's tinnitus go down when they fast and then it spikes after they stop fasting? Okay, does preparation play a role? Does breaking the fast play a role? Okay, now what's the deal with fasting? First of all, we should probably, I'm in some forest in Thailand right now, just outside of city though, so not too full on. The first thing we have to understand is that there is no one thing, okay, that will fix tinnitus. It needs to be multiple things. However, there is no, obviously as I said, there's no one way to skin a cat. However, there are some things you can do that are better than others, and this is proved by science. I'm going to get into this. Check this out. I'm covered in bugs right now. Probably going to get a tick. That's good. Good old Lyme disease. Some people I know got tinnitus from Lyme disease, or they got it from the stress that came from Lyme disease, okay? So that's actually the first thing I'm going to talk about is stress. Why do some people come to my channel and as soon as they see me talking about it's a fact that tinnitus can 100% go away, why do they then experience a drop in their tinnitus? What is going on there? Okay, so let's look at how hearing works. And I'm going to reiterate this because I've said it about 4 times, but that's okay. There's nothing wrong with saying it again so you can remember it. How does hearing work? Vibration, which is energy. Take a look at this. Vibration, which is energy, travels through the air, okay? Goes in, your ear catches it, goes through your ear canal, hits your eardrum, vibrates on the 3 smallest bones in your body. That's why calcium is important, bone health, okay? And they vibrate, the malleus, syncus and stapes, and then they hit the cochlea. And just to summarize, the cochlea inside there, the lymph inside there, is responsible for using potassium ions to convert vibration into electricity. How does this happen? Well, what's inside there that's causing this to work? The hair cells. Now those are like seaweed in water, but what is inside the hair cells? Each hair cell, mitochondria. There are multiple mitochondria inside each cell, just as there are multiple mitochondria inside each cell of the rest of your body too. Just thought you might like to see what I'm doing. So, what do these mitochondria do, okay? And what is inside them? And what are the components? God, there's massive spiders everywhere here. What are the multiple components that help a mitochondria function? So we have many things, okay? Let's take one mitochondria, okay? Water, light, electricity, magnetism, mold, nutrition, stress, and the circadian rhythm, to name a few. If you missed that, go back and watch it. If you're on your phone, I think you can double click the left-hand screen to go back 10 seconds. Okay, I'm getting light right now. Obviously I'm wearing shoes and not grounding because of the massive spiders that are out here. So, Jesus Christ, fuck. Ugh. Anyway, so what's happening there? So stress plays a role too. So let's look at, so the mitochondria, to put it very simply, has a large role, okay, on regulating your capacity to hear. If your mitochondria fail, this is getting pretty sus in this place here, if your mitochondria fails, okay, in your ears, your hearing fails. If you take benzodiazepines, you're going to inhibit the neurotransmitters that are responsible for regulating hearing. Oh, fuck this, I'm going back. Fuck this. The amount of bugs here is fucked. Sorry guys. So what's happening is stress. What role does stress play on mitochondria? As we now know, very simply put, the mitochondria has a big role to play in the function of hearing, the phenomenon of hearing, if you will. So if to lack of a better word, it freezes the mitochondria and inhibits its functionality. And multiple things can do this. Mold can do this, a lack of light can do this, but stress plays a huge role. So You have millions and millions of mitochondria inside the hair cells inside your ears, and stress will mess them up. So this lends to the idea that no matter how you got tinnitus, you need to address all those things: nutrition, light, circadian rhythm, electricity, magnetism, everything I said before. Okay, so when you are stressed out, you will inhibit your mitochondria's capacity to electronically communicate with other mitochondria and eventually go to your brain. So you're inhibiting your brain from hearing. And so, okay, well, where does tinnitus come from? Well, there's many ways it can happen. It can be a warning signal, okay? People often get hyperacusis because of this, because their hyperacusis shows that, hey, you haven't got enough functioning mitochondria left in your ear to be able to deal with these noises. And people often have different, remember, guys, the mitochondria, it swirls and goes smaller and smaller. And the larger aspect of, the cochlear hair shell, if you will, because it's a shell shape, it spirals up, okay? It's minuscule, but it spirals up, and the lower down processes the deeper voices and deeper noise, and the higher up processes the higher voices. And normally people, when they develop tinnitus, they develop hyperacusis as well, because they've got an issue with those higher up ones. Why do you think so many people come to me and say, I've got high level hearing loss? They don't have high level hearing loss. First thing is they have tinnitus in that frequency, so of course they're not going to be able to hear the same, oh, there's this shit dropping everywhere here. They're not going to be able to hear the frequency, okay, in the same pitch as their tinnitus, because it's exactly the same noise, so you're not going to be able to hear it. It just makes no sense. It's not hearing loss. You just can't hear the same pitch, because it's the same pitch. It's silly. It makes no sense. There's no hearing loss there. Secondly, hope this is the way I came. You've damaged the mitochondria, okay, and you're going deaf. So your body's ringing, okay, and telling you, this is the prevailing theory I have anyway, because why is it my prevailing theory? Because when we act as though this is what's happening and we treat that cause, tinnitus goes away. So what's happening is your body's ringing to say, this is going wrong. Think about all the weird ways that your body tells you something is wrong. Think about diarrhea, stress, lack of sleep, things like erectile dysfunction, things like infertility, all symptoms, okay, of something else that's going wrong. And so why wouldn't your ears ring if you had a problem with your ears? It just makes sense, okay? Like you get scabs on a wound, it's trying to fix itself, but it's a warning sign to say, basically, do nothing. So what is it really trying to say? In my opinion, it's trying to say fast, okay? Now, what is the benefit of fasting? And why does it work so well, furthermore than anything else? And why, secondly, or thirdly, or whatever on now, check this out, this is something else, isn't it? Why should you avoid people that promote a one solution fixes all forms of tinnitus? Well, because how is stress reduction going to help with mold? How is stress reduction going to help with tinnitus that was brought on through a poisoning of halides through a medication? It is literally impossible to fix tinnitus, okay, using only stress reduction. And you'll see this across the board. I've got multiple people who come to me and say, Liam, they say, first of all, thanks for being a dick about it and just say, hurry the fuck up and do it, because people, they get, should I do this, should I do that, should I do this? And looking for a strong person to come in and say, hurry up and fucking do it. So they thank me for that. The second thing they say is, thank you for showing me that just general stress reduction by itself is completely ridiculous. And whoever promotes that you should only do stress reducing activities in order to silence your tinnitus, first of all, doesn't understand science, okay, and isn't very open-minded. This goes for someone who would promote fasting only and would say, don't worry about stress reduction. That is also very silly. You need to do everything. Why? Because the mitochondria inside the hair cells is the functionality of hearing, and if you don't fix every single aspect of it, you will not get rid of tinnitus. You could have mold in your cells, and you could go to a rock concert and bust your ears up, right? And you're thinking, how do I fix this? How do I fix this? Relaxation techniques aren't working. Well, because you haven't gotten rid of the mold. You can't fix your cells, okay, without getting rid of the mold first. And here's a funny thing. Fasting actually promotes mold growth, as does Wi-Fi. It promotes mold growth. So that's one of the reasons why some people have a really rough time fasting, because they haven't gotten rid of the mold. Okay? Now if you just want all that information at once, click below this video, go to my website and watch my live stream. Okay? At the end you can choose to join my course, but it's up to you. Whatever you want to do with your life, it's your life. This is what I decided to do with my life. So you see where I'm going with this. So let's talk about another example of fasting. So let's say you don't have mold. That's great. Older people will tend to have mold, not because they're old and moldy, but literally just because they've had more of a chance to expose themselves to mold. And once you have mold, it takes one time to get exposed to a moldy basement, etc., and it will be in your cells forever. Okay? If you've got a really hard time fasting and it always sucks, you've got to get rid of mold first. How do you do that? Sunshine. You can take certain supplements, but sunshine is really the best way to go. And then of course, avoid cheese, carbohydrates, bread and rice, and dairy. This is why, and nuts as well. This is why people who say, oh, just eat whatever makes you feel relaxed, they don't understand the science behind how the ears work. Sure, understanding how to feel relaxed and, you know, okay with yourself and etc. is great, and you should do that. But it's not the end all of be all. And to assume it is a fallacy. It's not okay, it's not right, and people are getting hurt and they're losing hope. This is why people come to me after 3 years of trying to relax and they get 0 results, and then after a couple of days of me, the tinnitus is almost gone, if not gone. Now those people normally don't have mold, and their family situation is great. They've done some excellent work, but there was no work done on nutrition. Okay, so what does fasting do and how does it benefit? You can see how hot it is here. What does fasting do? Okay, and how does it benefit tinnitus? Why is it so good? And what's the difference between dry fasting and water fasting? So, God, my back is just drenched in sweat. So, let's take water fasting for example. Actually, let's take dry fasting. So dry fasting is, you would never do what I'm doing right now when you're dry fasting because you'd pass out. You just sit at home and do nothing. So dry fasting, you're churning up the cells and you're kicking your body into a state of autophagy. Okay, Liam, everybody gets that. Any random person can go online, grab that and quote it and say, okay, Liam, well, why does fasting help tinnitus? Oh, because of autophagy. But yeah, what is autophagy? What does it do? Okay, here's what it does. I'm going to break it down for you right now. Check this out first. There's often monks who come here, and me and my friend Chris, we came to a similar waterfall one day and we were swimming with the monks. I'll never forget that, that was amazing. Okay, I'm going to head back. So let's look at your ears, okay? And let's look at the cells in your ears. So what cells are we talking about? We're talking about the hair cells. And also, if you're thinking, well, Liam, I've broken my hair cells and I can't fix them. No, I don't think you have broken them. I really don't. It's very, very hard to do that. And I've had people one guy who had a tire blow up in his ear, and then he had ringing in only that ear for a year, and then relaxation didn't help. What a shock. Okay, I helped him out, told him what I'm going to tell you now, and what I've been telling you to do, all my videos, and the noise switched from his damaged ear to the other ear. Now, I'm not a fucking scientist, but I'm pretty sure if the cells are broken in that ear, which 5 doctors told him they were, why can it transfer to the other ear, and this ear goes silent and it transfers to that ear and back again, changes pitch, and now it's on its way out after about 4 months. Now, I guess that, that's just, okay, maybe it's an outlier, but it happens again and again and again. Like, how can that be possible? Right? Let's look at fasting. Okay, so you can definitely kill the cells, you can definitely damage the mitochondria inside of your hair cells with loud noises. How does that happen? Well, mitochondria are responsible for creating energy. And if you don't have energy, you can get inflammation. Okay? Don't have the right energy, you can get inflammation. I'll do a video on grounding and antioxidants. By the way, antioxidants protect your cells from mold. What is the best antioxidant? Uric acid from meat. If you think antioxidants come from vegetables, you are fucking retarded. And if you think my swearing is scary, you don't like it, and it's not helping you with tinnitus, go find someone else, because that's just, you need to sort out your mental state first, as far as I'm concerned. If that affects you, like, grow up. So let's talk about fasting. So mitochondria communicate with each other. They use the endoplasmic reticulum as well inside the cells. And here's the thing, the ear needs the most power out of any of your senses: sight, smell, touch, hearing, and I always forget the other one, but you get what I'm saying, and taste. Okay, it uses an extreme amount of energy. Why is this? Let me tell you. All the other senses are optional. Okay, if you see a piece of steak, it's up to you whether you want to eat it. If you see a 15 kilogram weight on the floor, it's up to you if you want to pick it up. Okay, you can close your eyes and stop vision. Okay, but you cannot stop hearing. There's no way to turn it off. If somebody lights a firecracker right now, it's going to freak me out and I'm going to hear it. Now, there's a reason for this. It's for safety. The only two things that humans are scared of when they're born are height and loud noises. Why is that? Safety. They've done tests with babies, and babies, like toddlers, like 6 months old, or however old it is when a baby's just crawling, they tested it, and a baby will walk to the edge of a cliff, it's like a staircase basically, with a drop, look down and get scared and turn around. Babies know this. And also, if you yell near a child, what's it going to do? It's going to be fucking frightened. Did somebody tell them, you can't communicate with a baby that young and say, don't jump off high edges. It's just going to go gig, gig, goog, and shit itself. It doesn't know. Okay, these are learnt traits. So, anyway, back to my point. The cells inside your ear communicate. It's like it sort of connects the dots. It's like you got the ear, then you got all the mitochondria in here, and you got the brain. And it's got to go through all of these, okay? And here's the thing, even your dead cells that are halfway dead, when you eat food, obviously remember, mitochondria processes the food. Mitochondria is an external bacteria. We used to be basically an amoeba, and then we evolved by taking other bacteria. Most of the DNA and bacteria inside our body comes from other animals, other creatures. We only function because useful parasites inside of us digest the food for us. If you don't have that, you are fucked. Some parasites are useful, not all, but most are, okay? You get the mitochondria from your mother's side, as well as some level of parasites too, which are good. Don't be scared of parasites. So here's the thing. You got 5 mitochondria. I'm just going to turn around while I keep talking. 5 mitochondria, okay? And let's say this one with my ring on it dies, okay? And so you eat a cheeseburger. Don't do that, but let's say you eat one, okay? Pretty cool here, huh? Eat a cheeseburger, and you get 500 calories from it, which would be way more. You'll probably be around that actually, maybe a bit less with the sugar. Okay, you eat 500 calories, and this cell is dead. This cell is still going to get given 100 calories out of the 500, even though it can no longer process noise for you. These are mitochondria, okay? Useless, okay? So you're wasting energy. Now let's say the next day you get sick and your cells get attacked, okay? And 2 more cells die. Now, you've got 3 dead cells out of 5 and 2 that function. Still, the distribution will be equal, and each cell will get 100 calories. Now it's happened. Not only have you lost some of your cells in your ears to help you hear, basically, and process noise, but on top of that, you've also got the remaining cells which don't have enough fuel to survive. And on top of that, you're not getting the right amount of sleep, and if you're not fasting, you're not recycling those cells and building those cells, okay? You're not getting any new cells. So your cells are getting weak, your dead cells are stealing food they shouldn't be having, okay? You've got less cells than you need, everyone's getting fed the same, okay? That'd be like if you had an army with 1,000 soldiers to fight another army of 1,000 soldiers, and you have a battle and 115 of your soldiers die, and you come back, and instead of giving the remaining soldiers who are alive even distribution of the food, you try and put the food into the dead soldier's mouth. Unfortunately, that's what your body does. Why does it do that? Because we're supposed to be going in and out of ketosis incredibly frequently. And it's not that much of a problem when you consider that during autophagy, those nutrients that are in those dead cells that aren't being utilized get swallowed up by the healthy cells, okay? And then they get powered and you can hear better. And then guess what happens? your body is not so scared that you're about to go deaf, because if you go deaf, you die. That's why we're born with a fear of hearing and loud noises, because that would usually indicate a storm, danger from weather, a tiger growling, someone running fast, something like that. Imagine if you're walking home at night at dark, and especially if you're a girl, and you just hear sprinting from behind you. Your heart rate is going to go through the fucking roof, okay? And also you can develop forms of PTSD from small events. You don't have to be a veteran and see somebody die to get PTSD, or any other thing, or get sexually assaulted or something like that. It doesn't happen that way. You can get it from little things. And also you can get it from overthinking, because your body, and Darren Timms knows this too, your body cannot differentiate between what you're thinking about and what's actually happening, which is why visualization is so important. So let's reiterate what I just said and let's round it out, guys. Your cells in your ears need to be replaced, or they will they'll run out of power until one day you wake up with, and you're deaf. Sudden sensorial, the fucking spiders here are ridiculous. Sudden sensorial hearing loss. Good English, Liam. You get my point, okay? So if you don't want that, you should be fasting. Now, one more thing about stress relief. It's very important, please do it. The second thing is, it's only one part of like 6 different things you need to do. Nutrition, you need proper nutrition to build the protein. Because hey, where are those new cells going to come from? Animal products, proteins and fats. You need to eat proteins and fats at the same time, okay? It's going to happen that way. You've got to sleep properly. You should be in autophagy every night when you sleep. That's how humans work. But if you look at blue light right before bed, you're screwed. People will say to you, do what makes you feel relaxed. Do what makes you feel happy. And they'll tell you, just watch a movie before bed, it relaxes you. That's awful advice. That is dreadful. Now, we all understand the placebo effect. What's happening there? You're getting the stress, you're reducing the stress, okay? And your mitochondrial function improves. And by the way, where does the power come from in the mitochondria? It comes from the ATP when it spins. And what's in the ATP? Salt fucking water. Salt water. Get the fucking salt. Every single cell needs salt. Every single mitochondria in the cell needs salt. When the ATP spins, okay, you get power and your ears will work. What's the number one way to power your fucking ATP? Sunlight. How does that work? Electrons, okay? It fuels the electrons. Now, how do you fuck your ears? Via the electrons? You take the electrons out. How do you do that? You take halides. What contains halides? Antidepressants. SSRIs, benzodiazepines, Ativan, Xanax, Zoloft, NyQuil. You are fucking yourself. If anybody tells you that you should take that shit, run the other way. Now, there are exceptions, okay? Because sleep is very important. If you have 11 out of 10 tinnitus and you cannot sleep and you're really struggling, here's what you do. You take that stuff to help you sleep, 100%. But you have to take selenium and iodine with it to protect your cells in your thyroid gland, okay? Another story, okay? The guy I've got at the moment, his tinnitus is nearly completely gone simply because he's following my advice. He's as relaxed as he can be, okay? And also he started taking iodine and selenium. Let's talk about that. So, what comes in benzodiazepines and antidepressants? Okay, look at the halogen table. You've got iodine, bromine, fluoride, and chlorine. Chlorine's in pools, fluoride's in toothpaste. Avoid them both. Oops. Avoid them both, or you're kidding yourself. Look at this. Now, there are iodine receptors in your thyroid gland. This is especially important for women because yours is twice as big. Mostly, women get tinnitus from drugs. Interesting, right? Why is this? Because women need twice the amount of iodine due to the literal size of their thyroid gland. So, I'm just literally walking in circles now, but I'm enjoying this. So, what happens? So, back it up. So you take a benzodiazepine, or you take Xanax, or you take Zoloft, or you take Ativan, or you take a drug test, or you take whatever the hell your doctor gives you, right? I don't know how many of you have been in and out of a doctor's office and within 2 minutes they say, take this drug. I wonder what their intentions are for that. Couldn't possibly be getting the kickbacks, could it? No, that's ridiculous. I talk a lot of shit about doctors, but I love doctors and I will continue to see them for the rest of my life. No sarcasm on that last bit. So you take the benzos, they've got the bromine in them, and because you're deficient in iodine, because everybody is, because it's not in our diet, you have to supplement. I recommend Lugol's iodine. Speak to your doctor first. What happens is the iodine receptors in your thyroid kick out the iodine and they use bromine instead. Now, what does the thyroid gland do? It is the number one, but not the only, but the number one biggest regulator of the fight or flight mechanism. Okay, so that's how that happens. Now, let's go a bit further. What's happening to the thyroid gland when it is deficient in iodine and is toxic with bromine? First of all, you want to get that bromine out. What do you use? Salt fucking water, okay? Sunlight and salt water. Been saying it for over a year now, guys. It's gonna suck when you do it, but I've been saying it for a long time, and people who follow it and just shut the fuck up and do it, get the results, okay? Now, I'm not talking to you people who are actually committed and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to people who are going, oh, I don't know, I've been doing it for a week and I get no results. It's like, I'm not Harry Potter. I can't go fucking Wingardium Levy, tinnitus is fucking gone. I don't know how to do that, although sometimes I wish I could. Fuck, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? Anyway, so my point being, the thyroid gland, okay, what happens when bromine is, so iodine, by the way, regulates the thyroid gland, and the thyroid gland regulates the fight or flight mechanism, the parasympathetic, sympathetic nervous system. So right there you can see that just relaxing is not enough. It's not enough, and it never will be. You need to understand the science, you need to understand the biochemistry, you need to understand how the body works apart from just feeling good, otherwise you are fucked.
My tinnitus was an 8, and I've had it for 2 years. I got it from medication, benzos. Everything that he did in the protocol, I did it imperfectly, but I did it. Let me just say, after the 3 to 5 days, the first 3 to 5 days, my tinnitus went down from an 8 to a 2. So I think he really knows his stuff, but overall, even if you were to implement like even part of it, I think you would get results, because I've had tinnitus for 2 years and I haven't had any results. And I did a lot of calming, mindful like stuff, and changed my whole schedule for 2 years, and I could not get rid of the tinnitus. That was just like the one thing left of all the stuff that I cured myself of, And so the tinnitus protocol worked for me. I'm over 40.
And don't worry, I'm teaching it to you right now. And yes, you are fucked. You should be like, oh shit, because then guess what you're gonna do? You're gonna watch the rest of my fucking videos and you're gonna pull your thumb out and start doing it. Now, as I say all the time, speak to your doctor first. Speak to your doctor first and make sure you're doing it safely. I don't know your medical history. Guess who does? Your GP. Listen to them, okay? They know a lot about the body, more than I do, for sure, but not more about tinnitus, because I don't get taught about it. Even your ENTs, trust me, I'll explain why later. So, imagine this. Imagine that your thyroid gland is a soccer team, and the iodine in it is the soccer coach. And the soccer team is running around and it's processing the adrenal glands and the adrenal hormones, and it's making sure they sync in with your circadian clock, because that's what it is, cortisol, right? Now, let's imagine that you get that coach, which is the iodine, okay, and you replace it with bromine. So what have you done? You've replaced the coach with a talking parrot. And the guys who are supposed to be winning the game, the soccer game being a metaphor for the regulation of your fight or flight mechanism, are like, coach, what do we do? Like, should we go for the defense? Should we go for the goal? Should we sub Jonathan in? What should we do? And the coach is just like, like, oh, what's he trying to say? They don't know how to function on their own. They need the help. So that's fucked. And so what happens? Your fight or flight mechanism will go up and down and up and down and up and down. It cannot be regulated. So you fuck that. Okay? Now also, that can also cause you to become stressed, because you can no longer get a handle on your stress. If you feel fear all the time, you're worried about your future, Liam, how do I deal with the anxiety? Well, this is one of the best ways to do it. Aside with obviously eliminating most of the plants out of your diet. Now that's optional. You don't have to do that. You can just start eating more meat. That's totally fine too. That's absolutely fine too. Take it slow, okay? Start, but take it slow. That's fine. So, what's happening then is you're getting stressed out more. And as we said, stress has a direct connection with the mitochondria, and the mitochondria is the functionality of hearing. And guess what? We were talking about food. Your ears, okay? Because the cells regulate your ears, the mitochondria in your ears, the ATP. What's happening is, don't worry, I'll talk slow when it's something you should know, otherwise I'll just say it to myself. What's happening is 3 electrons in the mitochondria. One of them comes from nutrition, animal products, okay? Because everything is electric, everything is made out of electrons, okay? Guess where you get the other 2 from? Ta-da! Wait, we'll do that again. Ta-da! Sunlight. You power it through sunlight, and you power it through water. You can see how bloody sweaty I am. You power it through sunlight and you power it through water. Oops, I'll do it this way. Okay, so you need water to catch the sunlight. You need potassium ions to translate the sunlight into the electrons. And you need the sunlight in the first place to power the electrons, and that powers the salt water, which turns it into a thicky goo so it communicates electronically, so it knows exactly where to go. And then it goes to the ATP. The ATP spins, it powers up, it kicks autophagy in, you get rid of the dead cells. Of course, you're going to get rid of mold first, okay? So that's why you've got to fix your diet. If you have mold, then what's going to happen when you fast? You're going to make tinnitus worse, okay? You're going to make it worse. Liam, how do I get rid of mold? Sunlight and just cut out the bad foods, okay? You can also take supplements such as Spanish black radish. That will help. That's by standard process. I do not get kickbacks from them. I've just seen amazing results from that. If you think you don't have mold, try a fast, okay? Give a fast a go. So you're going to have to watch this video. This video is half an hour long, so you're going to have to watch this video a couple of times to really understand. I recommend that you would do. And when you do, please feel free to post a question below. But if you really want to speak to me live and get a quick response, here's what you got to do. Click below, register for a time to see me live and actually attend, okay? I'm not doing this live stuff for very long. Attend, see me live, and I'll help you out. And at the end, if you want to work with me, there's an option to do that, but it's not an obligation. It's optional. But you can see, let me explain something, okay? This is just the tip of the iceberg. And I've probably said so much stuff that it might be confusing to you. Now, if you study quantum physics, or you realize that just focusing on one thing is not enough to get rid of tinnitus or to keep it gone, that's why people who get rid of their tinnitus through relaxation, it comes back. They can get it from a loud noise from a speaker, or they can get it from a stressful time, or they can get it from if they have a car accident and they have to take medications or antibiotics. I mean, we didn't even talk about antibiotics. We didn't even talk about physical injury. We didn't even talk about really loud noise exposure. We talked a little bit about stress. We didn't talk about sunlight. We didn't talk about grounding or antioxidants. We didn't talk about oxalates or phytates or anti-nutrients. We didn't talk about where you live. We didn't talk about blue light. We didn't talk about UV light. We didn't talk about the spectrum, okay? There's a lot to it, but you do it step by step. And step 1 is going below, entering your email and name, entering the right email, because I'm going to email you the link to attend with that. So, you know, it's live, but it's online. So, guys, I hope this helped. My name's Liam, 26. If you would like to meet me in person, I will be going to Melbourne soon. And you can come to Chiang Mai because I live here. Talk soon, guys.